How's everybody doing? I think that I am good. I have not been live in a minute. I'm going to check this stream. I'm going to check this stream on my phone just to make sure that people can hear me. If you're watching this after, feel free to skip ahead. I just want to make sure that people can hear me. Okay, cool. I sound good. No need to further investigate that. Today's podcast is going to be about getting wisdom. Um, the world, all the problems in the world stem from the lack of wisdom. You look across the board, if we're talking about money issues, which that's a big theme on my channel. I like to talk about finances, personal finances. Um, the cause of people's money woes is lack of wisdom. We look at social issues that's going on in the country, not only going on in the country, but also going on across the globe. It's the result of lack of wisdom. So, if wisdom or the lack thereof is the cause of the the world's problems, then it would seem to. I think that it would lead most people to, or it should lead us to at least have the belief or um, the lure that this is something that's significant. This is something important. If the lack thereof of this key characteristic can cause such chaos and confusion in people's lives, then this should be something that we strive to get. We should strive to understand, and we should strive to want it, because we can solve a lot of our problems in life by properly applying knowledge. So, um, it's sort of a biblical antecedent, but wisdom is simply what is wisdom? Wisdom is simply the proper application of knowledge. That might be a mouthful for some people. We're going to break it down. We're going to make it very elementary, so that if you have no concept or no understanding of what knowledge is, what wisdom is, we're going to go through it. And by the end of this podcast, you're going to understand what knowledge is, you're going to understand what wisdom is, and you're going to understand how to apply it in your life. So, knowledge, right? So, the best way to understand knowledge is information. Knowledge, not only is knowledge information, knowledge is truthful information. So the key distinction when you're working with wisdom and trying to apply wisdom is that the information that you are utilizing has to be truthful information. And so, we live in this day and age where we try to be very subjective in our truth, but truth is very objective. Truth is black and white, for the most part. Now, there are subjective realities about life, but truth, when you're talking about truth is very objective. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of examples. I'm gonna go with a scientific example first, and then I'm gonna go to some more relatable examples. This is situation. I'm gonna talk about some women a little bit. So for guys and girls, if you're interested in that, that'll be something really interesting. But we're gonna start off with a scientific example, because I think a scientific example, like, most people can really kind of relate to what I'm about to say. So if we if before we do something, before you do anything, you want to understand what it is. You want to gain knowledge about what it is that you want to do. So let's say, for example, I want to jump off of a two-story building. So before I decide that I want to jump off a two-story building, I need to gain the knowledge about jumping off a 2-story building. If I'm gonna do it, I need to understand what it means if I do that. So the knowledge, the scientific knowledge about jumping off 2-story buildings, I have to understand if I'm on the second floor, I have to understand that I'm not grounded with the earth. I'm not on the ground. So I have to understand that as I'm in the air, I have to understand that gravity is applying to me. It's applying to my body at that point. And so what gravity does, gravity is a force that operates on the earth, and gravity's force is to pull things down. Okay. So if I understand that gravity's force pulls things down to the ground, then I have to understand if I want to jump off of a second story building, I have to understand that gravity is going to pull me down. I have to understand that I'm not going to go up. I have to understand that I'm going to go down. So that's the knowledge. The knowledge is that gravity is a force that pulls me down. So what do I do with that knowledge? I make a conscious decision. So, and that's where you get into wisdom. So now that I have the knowledge and I understand that gravity is going to pull me down, I get to the portion of wisdom where I apply what I know. So understanding that gravity is going to pull me down, I have to make a calculated decision on if I jump off of this second floor building. I have to make a calculated decision. Am I going to live through this jump? How high up in the air am I? Am I going to be able to roll it? Is there grass? Is it concrete? Am I going to be able to live through this jump? Because I already know I'm going down. I'm not going up. So this is where we get to applying wisdom. So you take into all the consideration the knowledge that you understand, and then you make a decision. So now you're applying the knowledge that you have about this particular situation. So that's what wisdom is. And wisdom would tell me in this situation to not jump off the second floor. Don't do it. It's stupid. It would be foolish of me because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to severely hurt myself, if not kill myself. So that's wisdom. Wisdom is simply applied knowledge. That's all it is. So we're going to go into some more personal things. We talked about the scientific example, but I think that it's good to talk about a couple of different examples. Because we're gonna go over a money example, and we're also going to go over a people example. So we're going to go to people first because I said I'm going to talk about girls, and I think my audience, maybe women and men, y'all might find this interesting. So let's create a hypothetical situation, but a hypothetical situation based on things that actually happen, not something that's just abstract out of this world that would never happen. Let's create a situation where this is something that actually happened. This is something that's actually happened to me. So let's say you're talking to a girl. Let's say you're talking to a man. This man or this woman who you're talking to, you've been talking to them for a couple of weeks. They're showing you a bit of interest. You're really interested in them. And then all of a sudden, things change. They're not calling you as much. They're not texting you as much. But out of their mouth, whenever you talk to them, oh, baby, I love you. Oh, I just can't wait to see you. Oh, I just can't. I'm so infatuated with you. So this is what's coming out of their mouth. But what their actions are showing you is something totally different than what the mouth is speaking. So here goes wisdom. Here goes applied wisdom. So wisdom, if we're going to apply the knowledge, which is applied knowledge, how would we apply what we know to this situation? If I'm in a situation with a woman and she's telling me one thing, but she's doing another, then that what that leads me to understand, the knowledge that I'm gathering from that is that there's a conflict in behavior and what is said. So because there's a conflict of behavior and what is said, that would lead me to believe that there's a several things that could be going on. Maybe she's stringing me along. Maybe she's not that interested anymore. Maybe she wants to just let me down easily. She wants me to take the hint, whatever it might be. But the fact of the matter is, at one point, this was happening. At another point, this is happening. So, with this new knowledge that I have to make a decision. I have to apply what I now know to this situation. So, because this girl is, her energy has shifted, to put it more like in, I guess, modern terms, her energy has shifted. She's no longer reciprocating energy. She's no longer reaching out how she was before. She's no longer calling. She no longer wants to hang out. With that new information, I now have to use wisdom to make a decision. And so, what that decision is going to be is that I need to move on. Now, here's what happens, and here's what used to happen to me. And I know a lot of the people who do this too. They let people talk them out of what they already know. Your body, the spirit of God, it dwells in everybody. So everybody has an intuition. People know what's what, but they let the mouth talk them out of what they already know. So you'll go start, if you, especially if you really like this person, you'll go start making excuses. Oh, well, she's just been busy. Oh, well, he's just been busy. Oh, well, he's gonna call me tomorrow. He told me he's gonna call me tomorrow. Oh, we're gonna get lunch next week. Next week comes, we never get lunch. So you let what is said talk you out of what you already know. And so when you're doing that, you're not applying wisdom, because the person has already demonstrated to you that they are not interested in you in that way. Now, this is not a black and white situation. Relationships are very dynamic. I have to put this disclaimer in here, because I have some people who will take what I say at absolute face value and will not apply their own rationale to what is being said. You have to look at your situation and understand your situation, because some of those things may be true. But if it's very evident, like this person posting Snapchats, this person updating on their story every day, but they ain't texting you, but then they telling you, oh, they miss you. Come on now, you gotta use wisdom. You gotta use wisdom. You use the knowledge that you're seeing and make a decision using wisdom. Properly apply that knowledge rather than subjecting yourself, because here's what's going to happen. If you don't apply knowledge, if you don't apply wisdom in this situation, then you start to get depressed. Oh, this person doesn't like me. Oh, nobody likes me. Now you're all in a messed up emotional state, because you allowed it. All men ain't nothing, all women ain't nothing, because you've allowed this person to swindle you, to fool you, to deceive you from what you already know is true. So that's what wisdom can create. Lack of wisdom in this situation can create a problem. And sometimes lack of wisdom can even begin to distort your reality. We look at the dating scene today. There's a lot of women, right, who have problems with men for no apparent reason at all, because of their own lack of discernment and wisdom when dealing with men. If a man only calls you up when he want to have sex with you, then you already know what it is. That's, you gotta apply the knowledge. He only calls me when he wants sex. He didn't call me to hang out. He didn't call me to see how I'm doing. He just calls me to come to his apartment. And because you really like him, and then when it comes, and then he telling you whatever you want to hear. Oh yeah, baby, yeah, I love you, yeah. And then when it comes to an end, he's done using you, then all men ain't nothing. When all you had to do was properly assess the situation, take in the knowledge that you had, and properly apply it, translate it into wisdom, and you would have understood and saw through that situation. So that's what wisdom can create problems for you, and it also can create problems for you down the road because you begin to um, have sour beliefs about the world through your bad decision making. Because basically, what wisdom allows you to do is make good decisions. And contrary to what people might think, nobody's perfect, but wisdom is perfection. So if you use wisdom to make decisions, most of your decisions are going to be perfect. You might falter and make bad decisions from time to time, because we all have different vices in our life. Some of us are very quick to anger. Some of us are lazy. Like we just have other vices and stuff in our life. So we might fall short at times. But if you use wisdom in every situation in your life, all of your decisions, not just some of them, all of your decisions will be correct. They will be the right decision to make. So in essence, wisdom allows you to see what is going to happen. Wisdom allows you to understand what's going to happen before it happens. That's why, like, for me, especially with dealing with women, I can already see what's going to happen before it happens. So I'm able to maneuver and make adjustments based off the information that I see. Same thing with life. I can already look at a situation in life, for example, with gas prices. Everybody's upset that gas is $5. Well, the man told you he was going to kill the oil and gas industry when he was on the campaign trail. So, using wisdom, you understand that he's going to kill the oil and gas industry. What do you think that means? And then you throw Ukraine, and we're not getting Russian oil right now. Russian oil isn't being imported, exported to the European countries. So what does that mean? It means gas is going to be up. But really, the issue is lack of wisdom from President Biden, because President Biden refuses to use wisdom to address the situation. He wants to talk about a gas tax. He wants to talk about everything else other than the root cause of the issue, because he lacks wisdom. He doesn't understand how capitalism works. Capitalism is supply and demand. You don't have enough supply, you got a lot of demand, prices are going up. That's what's going on. Now, the perplexity about it is that this country has more oil than any other country in the entire world. So they don't even make no sense that we not tapping into the oil that we already have. We could have gas prices $2, $1.50 if we would tap into the oil that we already have. But we have an unwise man in the office, for lack of a better word, and he doesn't know how to use wisdom to make decisions. So this is very key when you look at President Biden, because we have to make a distinction, and we have to look at his decision and understand that President Biden is what you call an ideologue. So you don't want to be, and we're going to talk. I have one more example I'm going to give about finances. You don't want, and this example is actually going to lead into the finance example. You don't want to be an ideologue kind of person when it comes to knowledge, right? So Joe Biden, in an idealistic world, President Joe Biden, what he's saying, it makes perfect sense. Okay, if we could run this entire country on completely green energy, perfect. That would be wonderful. But the issue is scientifically, technology from a technological perspective, and otherwise, we simply are not there yet. And even electric vehicles, we have to understand the deception about electric vehicles is that electricity is generated from coal and fossil fuels. So you're not directly polluting, but you're still polluting, because electricity is generated from fossil fuels. Most of the electricity, now you have some wind and hydro energy that's being produced, but that's very little. That's why we saw, like here in Texas, we saw during the winter storm, when those wind turbines and hydro situation, when those hydro mechanisms went out, it put more strain on the fossil fuel, and it just was too much. So the issue is the issue is you need the problem is that you need coal. You need to burn fossil fuels, at least for now. You can't run the country without fossil fuels. And so he isn't using President Biden isn't using wisdom, because he refuses to retract on his bad decision making. Because there's nothing wrong with sitting up there saying I was wrong. You know, I thought we could run this country like this. Look, we can't. The American people can. We are. I am not going to be having the American people pay $5 for gas. So we need to make a pivot. We need to make a deviation. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you're wrong and making a deviation. But his pride and his ego will not allow him to make a good decision. So that's another thing. See, your pride and your ego can get in the way of you making a wise decision. You know, emotions rather. That, I think a better way to put it is sometimes your emotions can get in the way of you making a wise decision. And so the legacy of President Joe Biden is being tarnished day by day because of his refusal to to retract on his bad decision making. And he continues to compound it by going on air talking about things that nobody cares about, and talking about gas taxes and stuff like that. Like, dude, look, you have to understand this is a capitalistic society. A gas tax, a gas holiday, I mean, that's only like a couple of cents per gallon. I mean, you literally have to try to entice the oil industry to go out and make investments. If I'm an investor, it doesn't matter what industry, if I'm not receiving any backing, especially from the federal government who sets the regulations and policies for my particular investment, why would I go out and make an investment in something that's going to be dead according to this current administration, or it's going to be taxed heavily, or it's going to be regulated heavily, and I'm not getting any support from this current administration? I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to go make no investments. And so, yeah, Exxon and Shell right now, they're probably making a killing because of how much money they're making from gas. But at the same time, it's like you got to look at it. Well, I'm not really in a position to do otherwise. Like, the price is set by supply and demand. So capitalism going, I mean, it's going to rule on supply and demand. It might not be the most moral thing. People should say, like, oh, well, you shouldn't charge so more, but you really want a capitalistic society, because it fuels innovation. But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, we understand that President Biden, his decision making is the result of lack of wisdom. And because of that, his presidency is being tarnished, and he will likely, I project, to go down as probably one of the worst presidents since Jimmy Carter. If anybody remembers, I actually studied, I'm a history student, I'm a graduate history student, and I actually got my undergraduate degree in history. I had to take a class on the U.S. president's history. So I actually studied all the presidents from the first president, George Washington, to the most recent president, Barack Obama. So I had a very wide range I was studying. And um, that's how I know Jimmy Carter was one of the worst presidents. We haven't seen anything this bad since Jimmy Carter. Inflation was high, gas was high. You had geopolitical issues. And then we had a guy, the country was ready to become more conservative. Then we had Ronald Reagan come behind him, and Reagan really kind of helped out a lot of things. Inflation came down, gas prices came down. So you got to have somebody with a sound mind. You got to have somebody who has wisdom in one of the highest offices in the world, making decisions. You can't have somebody who's unwise making decisions on the behalf of one of the largest economies in the world, because there's implications across the globe for the decisions that this gentleman is making. Um, and so, having said so, we're going to move into my last example, which is the biggest theme of this channel, which is money. Money is just something very personable. Um, every money issue is the result of lack of wisdom. All of it. If you broke, it's lack of wisdom. If you ain't got no money, it's lack of wisdom. If you live in paycheck to paycheck, it's lack of wisdom. I know people who literally get paid and they in their mind have spent the money before they even got paid. Let me just say that again. I know people who spend money before they even get paid. In their mind, they already know what they're about to spend this money on. Unwise. Why is that unwise? Well, here's the thing. So life is very unpredictable. You don't know from day to day what's going to happen in life. You can go out and start your car up in the morning and it just be the day your car decided that it ain't going to work. You can go to the gas station. You can wake up the next day. Gas was $3 one day. Next day it's $5. I mean, anything. Life is so ever changing. It's always evolving. Things are always changing. You don't know what is going to happen in life, and so because you don't know what's going to happen in life, because you can't predict what's going to happen in life, it is prudent. And prudent by prudent, I mean you're looking into the future. It is prudent to plan for things that may happen in life. So you might go decide, you're working a job right now. A lot of people, like in the tech industry, there's like we're about to go into a recession, most likely a depression. This is something that I've been talking about for years on this channel. Um, and you're going to have a lot of people getting laid off. So wisdom is understanding that anything can happen. I can get laid off from my job. My car can break down. So I need to have resources so that if anything does happen in my life, I can respond and I can take care of what I need to take care of while I figure out a solution to the problem. Whether it be your car not working, whether it be you need to find a new job, whether it be you need to find a new place to stay, whatever it is, you have to be able to maneuver and be able to do things and not maybe have to borrow, put something on a credit card. So now you're going more into debt. Or not have to go ask mama, hey mama, or hey family member, can I borrow money? Or hey, people be doing crazy stuff, going and putting title loans on their car, doing payday loans. Unwise things when all you have to do is use wisdom in the first place when everything's going good and put money aside for an emergency fund, a car fund, a rent, like whatever it is, what kind of fund you need to have to make sure that your life is okay. You put that money to the side and you don't touch it. And whenever you need money, you use it and you don't have to be worried about what's going to happen because, okay, look, I already know I got $1,000 saved up. If my car break down, okay, I got $1,000. I should be able to cover, most stuff. If your engine or transmission go out there, you're talking about probably more money, but most stuff, maybe a water pump or something, can be covered within that $1,000 buffer. So you're in a good place. But that's using wisdom. So wisdom is understanding, number one, in this application, wisdom is number one in understanding that anything in life can happen. Number two, understanding that life that well, first, that life is second, that life is dynamic. It's always changing. And third, if you drive a vehicle, understanding that it's mechanical. It's by nature, things that are mechanical can break. It's the same thing if we go into the example about a house. If you have an AC, all these different systems, by their nature, they're going to break. They're mechanical things. So, all them people be riding, oh, yeah, ain't nothing going to ever happen. You're not using wisdom because you have to understand you're operating a mechanical piece of machinery. And by its very nature, it was actually designed to break down so you can spend money to get it fixed. But that's a whole nother thing. but you understand that that's the knowledge. Like, no matter how we might want it to be, we would like a car that we don't have to fix. We would like a car that never broke down. But the reality is cars break down. And so because of that, you want to have resources available to deal with those type of situations. So that's one instance of a financial situation where you're in a bind because of what life has put you in. But we're also going to talk about another situation. I'm going to get out of here. Um, People who retire and have no money, and I see it all the time. In the industry that I work in, there's people, man, they literally, I don't understand how these people are going to make it. I honestly, like, some things you just got to put in God's hands, because I mean, they come to me, they have $800 of Social Security. That's what they're being awarded by the federal government. $800. I mean, you can't even pay rent with $800 no more. And so that's wisdom also too. We will talk about that in another video, because understanding that prices are going to continue to go up. These prices aren't. I mean, they might recede a little bit, or they might stagnate a little bit. But for the most part, these prices are going to be pretty much where they're at. And so we're living in a time now where you have to make money. I mean, this isn't a time where you can kind of just finagle around and kind of BS around. Like, no, you in this day and age, you have to make money. You have to be highly productive. And that's not even to say like you have to be working 3-4 jobs, but you have to be intellectually trying to figure something out where you can be productive, or you putting other people in places to be productive for you. It might be a business, whatever it is. But this is a time and a day and age where you have to make money, and there's nothing that you can do about it but go make money. Everybody's getting upset that the rent's going up, that food's going up. All that you can really do is make money. But anyways, that's kind of getting off topic of what I was talking about. So we're gonna apply wisdom to like retirement and like old age, right? So what we understand about the human body is that the human body is most fresh, and in its best condition um, during the youthful ages. So like the age that I'm at, I'm 23, 30, 40. The body slowly begins to decay and wear out. It's no different than like a vehicle. The body slowly begins to decay and wear out as it ages, right? So when you get into the ages of 60 to 70, I mean, your body isn't going to be able to do what it did at 20. And that's just reality, okay? And so understanding that that's just knowledge, that's just biological truth. Understanding that, you have to be planning your life like you're gonna be 70 one day. And you have to understand that one day you're not gonna be able to do what you're doing today as a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old person. And so understanding that, you make adjustments and you make arrangements for how you're living your life today to set yourself up for when you are 60, for when you are 70, for when you are 80. And so I see it all the time. Like I was going back to the Social Security example. There are people who have no retirement. They have no money saved up. And all they have by the time they are 60 to 70 years old is $800 worth of Social Security. That was an unwise life. Because it's unwise because it is. You lived your whole life thinking that you wasn't going to be the age that you are today. You lived your whole life thinking that. So you 60, you 70 years old now, and you're at the mercy of the people around you. Number one, you're at the mercy of the Social Security Administration because they're going to ultimately decide how much money you get. Then, second, you're at the mercy of a landlord who is willing to take on your unique situation, because most landlord, they set a criteria for how much money you need to make to qualify for this apartment. And if you don't qualify for the apartment for the income requirement, they will either require a co-guarantor, or they will require somebody else to be living on the property too, or at least be on the contract, who will also be financially responsible, because you simply don't, you have not demonstrated that you can make enough money to pay the rent to live at the property. And nobody's going to take, somebody who owns a property, nobody's going to take a risk knowing that they might not get no rent, because they ultimately, if you're in a rental business, you're in the business to make money. You're not in the business necessarily per se to be charity to unique social situations. um but see, the person who's 70 or 80 and they only have Social Security, they were unwise. They lived all their youthful years partying, possibly spending money on this and that, buying cars and flashy stuff. And that was all nice while you're working and you could be productive. But as your body decay, you're 70, 80, you can't go out there and be working 40, 50, 60 hours how you used to. Your body, you in your mind, you might be strong-willed and you might be thinking like, yeah, I could do that. But your body is going to be like, oh no, we hold on, we got to slow it up. You trying to work 60 hours a week. Hey man, look, we might have to back this down to about 20, 30 hours. You know what I'm saying? Because the body, I mean, your body just is not, gonna be physically. And then, also you got to compound that with, a lot of people, especially particular Americans, they don't really take care of their health. That's lack of wisdom. You think you're gonna be a healthy, well-being person eating McDonald's every day, or eating Burger King, Chick-fil-A, Whataburger here, here in Texas, we have Whataburger. I mean, you eat that food, every now and then, maybe once a week, but you think you're gonna be okay eating that every day? No, I mean, you're not taking. That's not what the body was created to eat. It wasn't created to eat processed food. It was created to eat real food. Fruits, vegetables, um, chicken, meats. So that's the kind of stuff the body. Those are natural foods the body was created to eat. These processed foods, like a lot of that stuff. I mean, they did a laboratory report on McDonald's food. I mean, a fly wouldn't even eat it. So it's just like, this stuff isn't real. I mean, it might taste good, but it's not real. And like I said, it's okay to eat that every now and then. That's using wisdom. Okay, well, I want to satisfy my desire to eat this good food. Okay, well, I also understand, using knowledge. I understand. Okay, well, this ain't good for my body, so I'm gonna eat it every now and then. I'm not gonna eat it every day. So that's knowledge. You applying the knowledge that okay, this is bad food. Now, lack of wisdom would be, okay, I'm gonna keep eating McDonald's. Yeah, it's fast, it's convenient. Yeah, I'm gonna eat this. Yeah. And then when you start having health problems or you gain weight, why am I getting fat? Why am I gaining weight? Why I got these health problems? Why me? Poor me. Look, you did exercise wisdom. You was eating all this bad food for 20, 30 years. And now it didn't caught up to you because your body tired. You ain't take care of your body, and now your body tired, and it's manifested. You have disease, because disease is not a natural state. Disease is a altered state that enters the body from lack of wisdom. For the most part, some people, acquire diseases and is outside of their control, but most disease is the result of lack of wisdom. Like you get lung cancer, lack of wisdom. You smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes. I said, I'm not going to be 67 years old dead. You know, I'm not going to be 67 years old with lung cancer. You know, I had to figure out another way to handle the stressors and the triggers of life than using cigarettes because I already know what that's going to lead me to. So I use wisdom in a situation of my life. So you see, I hope through this podcast that we've been able to see how wisdom can really span across so many different areas of your life, and if you apply it appropriately in every aspect of your life, you will be well. You will do well in life. But the lack of wisdom will create problems, as we saw with the smoking situation. You're gonna have lung cancer. Without saving money, being prudent, understanding that life is dynamic and it's changing and things happen, you're going to be in a situation where you can't pay for things, and that creates problems because now you're stressed. So, or with the example with the relationship, you're not catching on to the cues and understanding what somebody says and what somebody does is two different things, and you're allowing somebody to string you along. That creates a problem because now you're having these feelings of resentment. Now you feel like you're not worthy. Now you feel a lot of these things when all you had to do was exercise wisdom and understand what was really going on. So, in closing, wisdom allows a person to see what's going to happen before it happens. So it's very important in everything that you do, you exercise wisdom in the area, whatever it is. Or if you don't have wisdom or if you don't have the knowledge, ask for ask for wisdom. Ask your creator for wisdom. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God. As if you're a Christian, ask God for wisdom. If you're a Muslim, ask Allah for wisdom. It's the same God. We just call them different names. So, but ask your creator for wisdom because the world's problem today is that there is a blaring lack of wisdom. People think that things just happen. Oh, I'm just unlucky. Oh, I don't understand why this is happening. Oh, I think that it's okay to do this. I think that it's okay to do that. The world has a blaring and it's getting worse and worse issue with discernment and lack of wisdom because discernment and lack of wisdom has led us to $5 gas. If we had discernment to see that President Joe Biden, was going to kill the oil industry and that gas prices were going to be $5, a lot of people probably wouldn't have voted for him. His approval rating is actually about 30% right now. A lot of people are not happy. But if you would have used wisdom, you would have understood that what he said, and you would have understood what it was going to mean, and you wouldn't have voted for him. Now, the alternative would have been Trump. Now, no, we don't like Trump and his mean tweets, and we don't like how he carries himself. However, I believe I used to pay $1.89 for gas. So I think that we would, at this point, we would take the lesser of two evils. We would take cheaper gas and mean tweets than no tweets and $5 gas. So, you know, I mean, but that's wisdom though. You know, see what's gonna happen before it happens. And so I'll close out and say this, and all you're getting, everything, everybody wants the newest car, everybody wants the newest phone, everybody wants the newest house, the nicest house. And all you're getting, get wisdom. Because wisdom will make everything in your life easy. It will allow you to approach problems. You understand what's going on, even when in front of you things aren't looking like they really going on like that. You understand what's really going on when you use wisdom and you apply it. So in all you're getting, get wisdom. And in closing, I want to just say thank you guys for watching this video. It's been a pleasure. And until the next time, I'm out. Peace.